And a very good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this Monday night. It's a little bit after 9 o'clock. And we're back with this week's live episode of Teen Tops. My name is Graham. As always, I'm joined by my good friend Jason. Jason, how are we doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. I know you're a huge hockey fan there, but the Kraken won. Yeah, right. They won their first playoff series ever. So I don't really care much about hockey, but you know what? Like, it's my hometown, and I've got a jersey and a hat, of course. So I'll have to be like, yes, go hit that puck.
Outstanding. Well, I mean, rumors are swirling pretty hard that Fanatics are on the verge of buying Upper Deck. So you may well find we're speaking about more hockey on this podcast in the weeks and months to come, because that would let Tops/Fanatics get the NHL license. So we'll see if that ever happens. But yeah, good on you. Good on you for the hockey. You may see that I've broken with tradition tonight. If you're watching the show, or if you're watching on demand on YouTube or watching back on Twitch, for the first week, I'm not wearing a baseball cap. I have my Greenock Morton beanie hat on, not because it's freezing cold in my house for once, even though I'm in Aberdeen. But yeah, massive week of game for my soccer, my kickball team. Who are actually coming up to the Frozen North to play Cove Rangers this Friday in a must-win game that could see us in the playoffs to go up to the Premier League. So, yeah, in non-baseball and non-baseball card-related stories, there you go. Kraken have won their playoff series. Huge week for my football team, Greenock Morton. Like I say, playing Friday night against Cove Rangers. I'm going with the father-in-law. It should be pretty great. It should be a good night. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
So the $1 million question is, how many Bob rolls are you going to have during the game?
Well, last time I went to Cove, although they did a fantastic steak pie, there was no Bovril. It was tea or coffee was your choice of beverage, of hot beverage. There was no Bovril, and I was mildly disappointed there was no Bovril. Hopefully, they've rectified that for this weekend.
So, as we are the number one British sports podcast in the Bahamas, what is Bovril? Because I don't think they have Bovril in the Bahamas.
I don't think they need Bovril in the Bahamas. Let's be brutally honest. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess 40% of our audience, according to our Spotify analytics, are from your part of the world. So for the uninitiated, Bovril is essentially, if you imagine hot chocolate, but instead of chocolate flavored, it's beef. So it's basically like a hot beef drink. Is the best way I could describe it. Almost like having a steaming hot mug of beef stock.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like you just go to the grocery store, get yourself some beef cube stock, and stick it in there, pour some hot water in there, and there you go. Bovril it is. Yeah. That's it.
That's it. That's Bovril. Bovril in a nutshell. Yeah, it's a hot beef beverage. You can tell I don't work in marketing, right? Because I can't think of a better way to explain it or make it sound any more appealing than a hot beef beverage. But yeah, that's what the show should have been called this week. I might call the podcast the Hot Beef Beverage.
I like it.
That's a great name for just a different podcast. Right, hang on, I'm off to copyright that. Hotbeefbeverage.com.
that will go along with our seltzer podcast. I can't remember what we called that one.
It would, yeah. In other news, sitting on my desk, I have a party-sized bag of caramel M&Ms, and I've eaten far too many tonight, and I'm feeling a little bit sick. So there you go. There's another fantastic update for you.
Must be the night. I said I have that bag of peanut butter M&Ms. I made some cookies tonight, so it's just like
outstanding. You see, it's this kind of quality off-topic banter that has seen the Teen Tops podcast nominated in the 2023 official Trading Card Collector Awards. Teen Tops, we have been nominated for Podcast of the Year. You've probably heard us talk about it on previous shows, but we're going to keep talking about it at least until the end of June. So voting is now open. If you visit our website, that's teentops.com, you can get all the information there on how to vote for us. If you took a couple of minutes to do that, we would greatly appreciate it. At the same time, you could maybe drop us that lovely review on Apple Podcasts. You could subscribe on any one of our social media platforms, all of which you can find the details on tntops.com. Voting, like I say, up until the 28th of June 2023. You don't have to just be in the UK to vote. I don't think it's geographically locked. You can only vote once per email address. But, if you have more than one email address and you really want to help us, then feel free.
Yeah, I've got about 100 new email addresses the last week.
I know, right? I'm going to try and configure a bot to do the Gmail trick and see if that works.
Ooh, yeah.
If you add a plus and then any any text after that to the first part of your Gmail address. It gives you infinite Gmail addresses. You can Google that. I'm not going to go into it because it's kind of boring.
Yeah. No, it's a dot. It's not plus B, but a dot anyway. Anyways, yes, there are many ways to hack that thing.
Yeah. Trust me, I know, because I've used many 10% off your first order on Tops UK by using that trick. Don't kid a kidder. There you go. If you have the time to drop a vote for us for podcast of the year, like I say, we'd greatly appreciate it.
And Graham will be at the award show. I unfortunately will be stateside, but you'll be there for it.
I should be. Yeah, I've got tickets. The wife and I are planning on attending. Right now, we cannot find a hotel in Edinburgh for anything less than about £400. So that's a little bit irritating. Not sure what's on in July because it's not Edinburgh Festival. That's not until August. So, if you have a camp bed or a cupboard that you'd like my wife and I to sleep in, and you're in Edinburgh, that would be just reach out teeandtops.com. We're not fussy. So yeah, we just need to get some accommodation sorted. We'll find something.
I might know a guy for you.
You might. Oh, you know a lot of guys. We'll find something. But yeah, we are planning on attending the award show. Is being held alongside the Scottish Trading Card Show, I think is its official title. Which is also on that same weekend in Edinburgh. The award show is actually being held at Easter Road at the Hibs football ground, alongside a trade night at the same time on the Saturday evening, Saturday the 1st of July. So yeah, my wife and I are planning to be there. You can come and rub shoulders with a podcast of the year nominee if you wish. But yeah, if you happen to listen and you're going, come say hello. I'll probably be there with some kind of Tea and Tops merchandise on. So yeah, if you do happen to see me, come say hi. Unfortunately, like I say, Jason won't be there. He'll be in Seattle.
It will be. Hopefully that day. That's a fan reunion day. But yes, I would say hopefully it'll be the Mariners game or the Aqua Sox game.
Oh, that would be pretty cool. Well, if we win, I'll FaceTime you. We'll see where you are. I might try and live stream some of it. We'll reach out to the organizer and see if they'll let us live stream some of it.
But yeah. So, anyways, before we move on to there, so we're talking about the Aqua Sox. So that is the single A Mariners affiliate. And for those who don't know, I run the Mariners UK account, and I sent a lovely picture of me dressed up as Harry Ford in the whole hat and cape, and tweeted it out. And
it's not a hat, it's a crown.
It's a crown. Fine, it's a crown. Might be a little tired, but yeah, crown and that. So we have the Harry Ford home run picture like there, and said I will see him in Everett hopefully this summer. And they reached out and said, hey, if you're coming all this way from England, I did want to correct them. But
I wanted to correct them.
But if you're coming all this way, we'll let you throw out the first pitch. So I might be throwing out the first pitch. So we'll have to work the details on out there. But I think it's pretty damn cool that I'll be able to throw a first pitch at a minor league baseball game.
That'd be pretty cool. You'll need to get one of those. Here's a TikTok reference for the kids. One of those Francis Bourgeois head cam arrangements. And then you could live stream, or you could record record your first pitch. That'd be pretty awesome.
I'll just take the photos from the photographer. Like, it's one thing throwing out the first pitch for Scottish baseball. It's another pitch being in front of a couple thousand people and making sure you don't bounce it twice before you get there.
Well, that's it. Christ, you need to start stretching now. Get that fork ball up.
So cool news on our end. So I don't think I got to talk about it 2 weeks ago. I think it only happened last week or the week before. But yes, so exciting news for me.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Let's just mention it every time from now right up until. Of course, there's a very good chance that if you do that, with the new tie-up between MLB TV and the minor league system, minor league games, there's a very good chance we might be able to watch you do that live on MLB TV. But of course, we'll need to look at that closer to the time.
Yeah, exactly. I know they show the games, but I don't know if they show the first pitch. But we can find that one out there. Who knows?
That would be interesting.
I will absolutely find out what day it is. I'll work out with them because I have that extra 9 days before Chicago that I can go to a game, and so I just gotta work out which day it is there. So, and my brother's super stoked to go there, and I might as well take the niece and nephew to go. Look, your uncle's famous, internet famous. He's so
internet. That could be a hell of a day. That could be that'd be pretty fun. Yeah, just don't do the first pitch in the robe and the crown, and it'll be fine.
I was thinking about that. I was like, do I try to throw it with that? I don't know. Although I was looking at all the first pitches, and it looks like they give you a jersey, so I'm pretty stoked about that. So I
Tell
can
you,
take it.
you need to wear a kilt. I'm going to
High,
keep flogging this.
high leg kick. Here we
Yeah.
go.
I didn't say you had to be traditional Scotsman, but 100% you should have the kilt on.
I think I'm passing that kilt. I only got so much room in the bag. The kilt's not going to make it. Oh, actually,
you're going to Seattle though. That's the home of utility kilts. You could.
My brother's got 2 kilts. I think I gave him 2. If he still has one, I will check after the podcast to see if he still has it kicking about, because it may be too small for him, but it should fit me.
Very good. Yes, we're looking forward to Tales of Jason in Seattle. That'll be coming to us in July. You're basically having the whole month stateside. So, and yeah, I'm actually planning to join Jason, hopefully, for the last week in July. We're actually looking to attend the National this year. So we're working on that, working on the logistics. I think Jason's probably about 95% of the way there. I'm probably about 90% of the way there as well. If the flights would come down a little bit in price, geez, that would be appreciated. But yeah, we're pretty confident that's going to happen. So of course we'll keep you all updated on that in the coming weeks as we get our plans together. Talking of plans, new releases. They're planned. Oh, that's an awful segue. I sucked at segues last week, and I'm feeling the pressure on getting these smooth segues, because I was awful last week, and now I've put too much pressure on myself, and I feel like I'm dropping the ball everywhere. But yeah, trying to segue nicely into our first piece of regular scheduled programming, which is taking a look at the latest releases. So I guess since we're last on here, 2 new releases of note to talk about. A few off-brand things have come out as well, but from the main Topps stable, we have a couple. 2023 Archive Signature Series, which is just yawn. I think I made my feelings on this product pretty clear in the episode 2 weeks ago, so please go back and listen to that if you wish. So this is Topps' buyback product, where you basically get one encased autograph card for around $75 a box. I actually watched a couple of breaks of this, case breaks. So you get 20 boxes in a case, and I watched a couple of cases getting broken, and my God, it was just hilarious trying to watch breakers fake excitement about a made-up 1-of-1 of Brian Reynolds being the most exciting card that came out of a 20-box case of this product. Like, oh, it was gross.
He's doing really well.
He just signed a big contract, right? Which kind of made, because I took these notes right at the time I was watching it, and then I thought, no, I'm going to leave it in, because then he just signed that pretty big deal as well. And I was like, oh, I'll leave it in because it's kind of a funny parallel still to Pool, but.
Yeah, it's like pulling the shed long. It's like I said, no one outside of Pittsburgh is excited for that pull there. And although good on Pittsburgh for actually spending some money on somebody.
I know, right on, huh? A feel-good story to come later in the show about Pittsburgh as well. But this podcast is going to be bookended by Pittsburgh-based stories. Ironically, mere seconds before we went live on the show tonight, I was in the Shohei Ohtani collectors group that we're both a member of. And somebody last night pulled a Stadium Club Chrome 1-of-1 Shohei Ohtani autograph out of Archive Signature Series just last night and put a picture of it up in the group. It's a beautiful looking card. It's just a Stadium Club Chrome like Ohtani base, but he's like at bat, and the signature is quite nice. So yeah, that kind of torpedoed my story about Archive Signature Series being a sucky product. But to be fair, like, super nice stuff like that is pretty few and far between, and a lot of it is just drivel. But I guess in some way it's the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's always going to be some sort of nice cards you got to chase after there. So, you can't always be Ohtani or Trout or Judge. You've got to mix in your shed longs and your
DJ LeMahieu's and
yeah, like I said, if you eat steak all the time, you never going to know never gonna know anything different.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, I enjoy a pot noodle as much as the next person. So Archive Signature Series, but the only product that really matters right now is 2023 Bowman Baseball. So again, we spoke briefly about it a couple of weeks ago. So you can get this in Hobby Box, which contains 1 autograph, and Jumbo Hobby, which is 3 autographs, for about $295 and $599 respectively. The interesting thing with this product, so we've already had one bounty product this year where Blowout Cards offered $250,000 for the Golden Mirror Variation Complete Set that came out of Top Series 1. David Adams have put a bit of a twist on this for Bowman, and they are offering a $1 million lifetime bounty on the Drew Jones, who is the son of Andrew Jones, who I didn't realize until about half an hour before the start of the show, where I was researching this article. The 1-of-1 Superfractor Auto from 2023 Bowman. So basically, if you pull the Drew Jones 1-of-1 Superfractor autograph card within the first 30 days after release, so this product came out on the 28th of April, so you had 30 days from the 28th of April to pull this card. You have two choices. You can turn around and sell it to David Adams right now, and they will give you $250,000 of your US dollars, or you can keep the card, and if he makes the Hall of Fame as a position player, they will pay you $1 million.
Wow. Okay. That's no pressure on the kid at all.
I know, right? I mean, if you're going purely on the odds, I'm selling that card. What are the odds on making the Hall of Fame? Is it better or worse than 4-1? I think it's worse than 4-1. So I'll take the $250,000 right now. Thank you kindly. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm selling. There's no way. I mean, Albert Pujols was a 15th round draft pick that was an afterthought, but just happened to be playing community college baseball in the Kansas City area. You know what? Like Mike Piazza, 56th round draft pick. Those are 1 in a million. Like the amount of number 1 draft picks or second round or third round draft picks that were can't miss prospects and completely missed. Take the cash and run. Like if you're worth $1 million and 30 years down the line, okay, are you really going to care? That $250,000 now was be worth a lot more than $1 million then.
By the time you adjust that for inflation in 30 years' time, like it's not even 750,000. You probably lost maybe half. But I mean, yeah, come on. Anyway, I'm 100% with you. It's you make excellent points. There's on the subject of can't miss prospects who absolutely missed. I'm sure you would have noticed because he was released from the Mariners, but Justice Sheffield got released just this week. So Justice Sheffield went from the Yankees to the Mariners, I believe, as part of the Big Maple trade.
It was Big Maple trade. Yep.
Thank you. I can't remember his actual name, so I'll just call him Big Maple.
I want the shirt next week.
Yeah, that big Canadian dude whose name I forget. So the Mariners just released him. So and he was seen as like a can't miss prospect. So yeah, 250,000 in my pocket. Thanks very much.
Well, okay, a good example of that is Mark Apple. So he was the number 1 pick or second pick by the Astros. Didn't sign because they had concerns about his arm, or was it Indians or Guardians now? But yeah, went back there and then is pitching as a relief pitcher for the Phillies. You know, like you can't be drafted twice in the first round and then still, never
still not make it out.
Yeah, and he's happy just become a relief pitcher. But like these things happen. There's oh man, like the Hall of Fame it's so exclusive that it's just take the money around. But it makes for a good story.
It does make a great story. So the wider question then becomes, what would you do? And if you're listening to this show on Spotify, you can answer that question. Take a look on your device right now. And there will be the Spotify podcast question. What would you do? Would you take the 250,000 if you pulled this card, or would you sit on it and take the chance he makes the Hall of Fame and collect that cool $1 million? But like I say, $1 million in 30 years' time would be worth a lot less than $1 million right now. But that's a terrible comparison to pull because you can't get $1 million right now. But you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like I said, it's a nice card. I didn't realize he was Andrew Jones' son. So I guess that's really scary to think all the people I watched growing up now have their kids playing Major League Baseball.
Yes, indeed. It's funny, when I saw the spelling of Drew, which is D-R-U-W, I thought that was kind of strange. But then when I saw he was Andrew Jones and Andrew spells it A-N-D-R-U-W, I was like, that immediately makes sense. The pressure's on for this autograph card because his dad, Andrew, has one of the finest signatures I've ever seen. If
really?
you haven't seen an Andrew Jones autograph card, do yourself a favor and go Google that. If I remember, I'll tweet one out over the next couple of days, so you can see it. But yeah, his dad's got a phenomenal autograph. Yeah, good luck to Drew. Like I say, he is with the Diamondbacks, I believe. So yeah, exciting to see what happens. Presumably, he should at least make the majors.
Wow, you're right. Okay, I've just Googled that, and it is a lovely signature.
It's a cracker, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is really nice.
Really nice. And there is talk of him eventually making the Hall of Fame as like the golden era kind of in there because he was so elite defensively.
Interesting.
There's been some chatter about that, but who knows? So
yeah, is that the Veterans Committee? Is that
the
right?
Veterans Committee? Yeah, I mean, there's people like Will Clark, or I mean, even Rafael Palmeiro, despite. What a douche he is.
That'll be a controversial one.
But I mean, he's got 3,000 hits. I mean, how do you keep someone out for that one?
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So it's a tough one. So it's it's a lot of guys that were the Hall of very good, but not quite good enough. And then there's still Bonds and Clemens. So they'll eventually get in. We'll turn that blind eye to what happened in the 90s, and So, but yeah, I saw there was chat about him possibly making it in the Veterans Committee.
That'd be kind of interesting. That would be interesting.
So would you get the bounty if his dad made?
That'd be kind of good. Yeah, get grandfathered into that bounty. Yeah. So yeah, like I say, answer the question. If you're listening on Spotify, even you can see that question now. Let us know what you think. Yeah, upcoming releases. There's nothing really exciting in the next couple of weeks, but it's been confirmed that coming out on the 31st of this month, so we can talk about it and talk about them in a little bit more depth next week, and hopefully we'll have the checklist and stuff by then. But 2023 Heritage is due to release on the 31st of May, and also 2023 Tribute.
Yes, all right.
Shiny. Yeah. So excited for the physical because it's a beautiful set of cards. You don't get very many cards in a box, and the boxes are $500. And so, but I've opened a box of Tribute in the past. It's about as high end as I'm prepared to go. So I'm contemplating, shall we say. I've not committed yet, and if my wife is listening, it is yet to be discussed, darling. I know. So yeah, I'm contemplating that. But of course, that means, and this will segue us beautifully into our Bunt section, that hopefully we will see some Tribute appearing in Bunt, and hopefully we'll get a nice Tribute event, which Jason and I have waxed lyrical about on enough of the shows now, that the Tribute event from 2 years ago was probably was the best one, but even last year's Bunt Tribute event was still pretty good.
It was Heritage last year.
Did they not do a Tribute one as well?
It might have been a smaller one, I think, because we were disappointed because it was not. The Tribute one was amazing. I think that was the really kind of sucked us into Bunt. And then last year it was the Heritage one, because that was the one we pulled at Resources and got that Ohtani award card.
Yeah.
So I still feel guilty about winning that contest.
So both those coming out at the same time, the end of the month. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in Bunt. But on the subject of Bunt, today is the 1st of May, so that means the clock has rolled over and we're now into a new season of Bunt in this new this wonderful new I can't think of the right word.
Well, it used to be a monthly event. It was the monthly event's now gone, and now it's gone into the season event.
Season pass,
which is like 32 days. I didn't actually look to see what up there, but yes, it's gone from. What was it? Trading. It wasn't trading places, but new faces and new uniforms or something like that, and kind of some rookies there. But yes, this time it is the International Pastime. So it's a 25-player set, and they have people from around the world. So we got Trace Thompson from GB.
Interesting.
So the GB did get represented there. I was kind of hoping for Harry Ford, but we'll take Trace Thompson. I can't imagine why I was hoping for that one.
Oh my God. You need to watch. You can't afford to get a restraining order yet until after July. So
well, that would mean he'd be listening to the podcast, which would be excellent for us. But
you never know. You never know.
So that started this week. I did end up spending my £10 on paying for the rare series of that, and the only difference was you got a boatload of diamonds and you got the rare card set from all that there. So really wasn't worth it unless you really were trying to go for the set there. It was nice to have the diamonds, and knowing that Tribute's coming out, I'll probably spend some diamonds on there. But yeah, just kind of was like, well, I'm this close. There's like 6 hours left. Might as well spend the money and see what I get from it.
Yeah, I guess that's the kind of good thing about it. You could go through basically the whole month on the free tier. And if you get to, you can get to the end and you think, oh, well, there's only 6 hours left. I can get all these extra rewards because I've already made it to the top tier. Then you can just pay your £10 or your $10 or whatever it is. And then you get, if you're already on like level 50, for example, you get all the 50 levels of paid for stuff, right?
You do. So you get everything that's up to level 50. And what I didn't realize, what happens once you've completed level 50, it goes on. So I think it was about 750 experience points. Once you hit that, you get a super rare card, which is a black and white card and it's motion. So I had no idea that there. I didn't actually read. To be honest, I didn't think I was actually going to hit 50. So I didn't bother looking to see what was at that. But there are rewards after 50. So once you've collected the XP there, you do get a super rare black and white card with emotion on there. So that's going on. I think it's going all season. I think that's good for 300 days or 250 days there. So that will be going on all season long there. And good luck to somebody that's grinding it. Apparently, there are 3 people that actually have the full set already.
That's ridiculous.
Yes. So they showed who had the award, and I think the lowest whatever point value they had was like 3.2 million. So they were the super collectors. So they spent who knows how much money on everything. So it probably wasn't even anything they thought about. I mean, I would love to see their collection to see what they're missing, because I mean, like I said, they have everything in their collection, but what are they missing?
That's wild. I mean, there must be like one-on-one stuff, obviously, that they're missing, but that's crazy. Like I chipped away at it. I think I got up to about level. I think I was in the 20s for the level that I got to. I didn't open. There weren't too many releases that really floated my boat on the last month. I kind of wish I'd gone a bit harder on Big League, and then I'd sort of started to pick up some interest in it with about a week left. But I only got about a third of the way through the set. And now that we're into Series 2 of Big League, I didn't finish Series 1, so I'm not going to bother starting Series 2. So I think I'll just be doing my usual daily login, complete my daily missions, take a look at anything new that's released. But yeah, I can see, I guess similar to yourself, if Heritage and Tribute are dropping in the physical world fairly soon, then it could be an expensive, maybe the May season, so not this season, but the next, the May season will be the expensive one for me. We might go for the old premium pass, stock up the diamonds, and we'll go from there.
So we'll cover what's out there, and we'll talk about why you should be playing this week. Because Mystic ends Friday, so if you're not doing a Mystic set, no big deal. I understand it's not everyone's favorite set. I kind of did it because I was bored and I wanted to spend some coins on something. What was it? Gold Label Series 2 is coming out again. I didn't seem that kind of great of a set there, but I'm almost done with it. I realized I hadn't finished it off. That you still have a week left. You haven't done Gold Label, but yeah, Big League Series 2 has come out. But we've also dropped the 35th anniversary of 1988 Tops. They were out briefly. I think there was roughly about 500,000 cards, or maybe 1 million cards that dropped. Those went super quick. I can see why there'd be people of my generation who spent lots of money on 1988 Tops, and they still look crap. But damn it, I had to go and buy that set because the nostalgia factor kicked in there. And then Tops 100. So this dropped this week. So that they have it with Baseball Tonight. They paired up to figure out who the top 100 people there. So that's your standard thing there. It ended up being a really interesting craft towards the end of late last season because they started dropping the fire. It was rain to start first, and fire, and then ice. So I didn't bother with it. I know you went hard on it at the start.
I did at the start, yeah. I wanted to just build the gold set. I wasn't really too fussed about crafting out to get the higher tier stuff, but I did all 100 of the golds just because it was, I guess, a bit like I just wanted to spend some coins on a set, and I figured doing the gold set of top 100 would be an interesting thing to do.
So yeah, so this is where I'm kind of We've got so there's 2 events going on currently. This is why you should be doing it, and it's a net positive of maybe 5 or 10,000 coins if you complete everything there. But basically, you get the whole big league set for free, and you can do all the rare crafting, and you can get your top 100 on kind of the same time, and just kind of keep even keel. So top 100, you got your base, you have your gold, you have your neon crafting cards, and then if you do there's 3 rare, you get the rain. No, oops, that's the top 100. Sorry. Forget that.
Scratch
Top 100.
I'll edit this out for the podcast.
Yeah. Base, the gold, and then the neon cards are there. And the rain ones are coming out if you do the 3 rare cards there. So you have that there. And I assume that this will go on for a bit. It seems to be going on for, I think it said 200 days there, but that seems odd. I think the fire will have to drop at some point, and the ice will have to drop after that. But you grind on that there. But with Big League, you can do there's 7 tiers on there, and you can get everything there. And so there is the crafting one with Big League where you get the rainbow craft just like you did in Series 1. And then you get the gold super rare if you complete the whole thing there. So you've got to complete that whole thing 99 times. 99 times.
Wow.
99 times to
99
get the whole super rare set from that one. So
but hey, if it's net positive on coins and all you're doing is just investing a bit of time, then why not, right?
It's pretty much, yeah. It's a grind. It really is a grind there.
Yeah.
I'll pull mine up to see how I was done there, but I think I'm about a third of the way through it, and I spent some good time on it yesterday to kind of went there. But like I said, it's barely net positive. It's mostly that break even kind of thing there. But you can, if you have the time, you can grind away, get all your big league set. I've already hit 2 iconics, which is probably about right for amount of. Yeah, but they're not very nice iconics, if I'm honest.
You've not hit any mascot cards. That's what you're telling me.
The mascot cards are only rare. They're not super rare.
Oh, rubbish.
So yeah, I don't think the Moose is signing any cards to go in the super rare section. And until the Yankees bring back Dandy, well, I'm not going to look for any Yankee mascot cards either.
Yeah, so. Yankees are far too classy for all this stuff. So, we don't have a mascot. We don't put the names on the back of our shirts. We don't have a City Connect jersey yet. Come on.
It's next year. I think you guys are next year.
Is it? That'd be interesting.
Every team's getting one, so it's gonna be like Flavor Flav. Be going.
Hey, fuck. Maybe Action Bronson will come and do
it. Yeah. But yeah. So, but yeah. Yeah, they're okay. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to say no to iconic, and I'm trying to work my way through the super rares there. So, but yeah, like I think the rare cards are the more fun. I think the art cards are a lot of fun, and it's the same artist from Project 100. I can't think of the artist off the name, but they've taken the 5 card set they did from Project 100 and then turned it into a 25 card set.
Ah, nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we sort of dropped the Project 100 part of the show because the project's finished now. But interestingly enough, Top sent out a promotional email encouraging you to learn more about Project 100 just tonight. But it links you to an article on their Ripped platform, which is like their kind of social media kind of blog site. And it's sort of got marketing, promotional, podcasty type stuff linked to it. But yeah, go check that out if you want to learn a bit more about Project 100. You'll find that at ripped.tops.com, I believe is the URL, or check your email if you get the promotional stuff from Tops. It's probably in there tonight. But yeah, rest in peace, Project 100.
Yep, no words on anything yet. Hoping something comes out. Who knows? It's one of those things. I think I was thinking about this. I really enjoyed it when they took the original set of Project 2020 and took 20 cards and redid it in their own style. I think that appealed to me more than kind of like, all right, here is Joe Blow, and he's going to do a Mike Trout, a Shohei Ohtani, an Aaron Judge, a Fernando Tatis, and a Juan Soto card in their style. Yeah. That's great. That's like there. But I think if we went back to designing what the card looked like of that year, I think that I would probably appeal to me again. But yeah, I think that's what Project 100 hasn't really appealed to me as much as the previous projects have.
Yeah, I think it started. That was certainly the intention, I believe, of Project 2020. It was like the idea was to remix or to reimagine something that was already existing, and they've sort of slowly moved away from that just into a kind of pure art set. But yeah, let's see. Let's see if they bring out a new baseball release. The football spin-off, so Project I forgot what it's called.
70. Project 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Project 70. That's the UK football one. It's the Project 70.
22. It's Project 22.
Is it Project 22?
Yeah. So we had Project 2020, and then for baseball, and then Project 70, which was the second iteration of the baseball one, and then Project 100, which was the third iteration of the baseball one, and the soccer one is called Project 22, and it's still going. It just took a hot minute there for my UK Tops website to reload. So it's still going, but albeit with different artists. And I don't think it feels more like it's almost like a living set. It feels like, but passed off as like an art project. But they're doing some pretty interesting stuff. So if you're into your art cards, you're missing Project 100. If you go to uk.tops.com/project22, or just go to their homepage, you can see the football variation of the Tops artist card set. It's pretty decent. It's a fair way in right now. They've been doing it for quite a while, but then you do see the same repeating players. Like we've got the same problem as the baseball product. But then, as we found out late in the day, artists were being told by Tops that they had to do a Mike Trout, or they had to do an Ohtani, or they had to do a Julio, or they had to do, they only had a small pool of players to pick from. And I think some of that's going on in Project 22 as well. Every week there's a different Erling Haaland card, which I guess is understandable because he's like the hottest thing in the world right now as far as football goes. But then just this week there's a Robbie Keane card, which is a phenomenal choice. Shout out to all those Spurs fans who are just crying right now. Hi, Matt. We won't get into football banter, but yeah. So I think, again, we discussed, I think, the first episode of the year when we were looking forward to what might happen. We were both pretty confident that another art style set would come out for Tops for baseball. So let's see what happens over the next few weeks.
Who knows? Maybe they'll announce it in Chicago. We still haven't heard that was something supposed to be released this year that was going to change the game.
Yeah,
that was like 2 months ago.
That was supposed to be March. You're exactly right. So they announced that at the Tops.
Game changer, yeah.
The Tops Summit, industry summit that Tops had in March. So it was going to be the biggest change to card collecting in a generation, and we're still waiting on this announcement. Or they already announced it, and it's passed us all by. So we're not still waiting for that big announcement. We have to reach out to Tops and figure out exactly what that is. But
or we'll just pester them at the National and say, yes, you need to talk to us.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. We're the number one baseball card related podcast in Iran, and the people need to know.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. As a wise man once said, "Come on, your Tops, we have to know." To paraphrase slightly. Anyway, on the subject of our good friend Matt, an ever-loving Spurs fan, currently residing in Eastern Florida, he is also a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, and a former Philadelphia Eagle. Has caused quite the stir on baseball card collecting and hobby social media over the weekend. So Evan Mathis, who is a former Philadelphia Eagles offensive guard, has been causing some offense in the hobby. We published a 5.5-minute TikTok showing quite a detailed process on how to cut and alter vintage trading cards. So you can, I'm sure you can imagine, the comments were pretty fire. A lot of people clutching at pearls, going, "How dare you? How could you do this? This is terrible that you're showing off how to alter cards to potentially have them graded and appear better than they actually are." And then perhaps an equal number of people from the percentage of the comments that I read, certainly, who were actually quite interested in the skills and the method and actually what it takes to trim a card and make it look like a fairly professional job. And he goes into quite a bit of detail, and yeah, I was quite impressed at the range of skills on display there, if I'm honest. If you haven't seen it after the show, we'll stick a link out across the socials. We'll tweet it out or whatever, and you can go and watch it on TikTok or wherever you like to consume your short form video content, and you can see what you think of it. I know you sent it to me, so I'm assuming you've had a chance to watch it as well.
I did. It was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating that this is how you totally, play the system. Yep, you got these cards there, and now it's going to cause PSA and Beckett have to go through all their submissions of cards he's owned and say they've been cut and changed and altered and not there. But you know what? Like, I'm impressed by his ingenuity. Like you have this wax paper here. You use this, eraser / rubber to scratch out the glossy bits and put it back on there. Like, I measured this card, it was miscut, it's a 1/4 inch too long, we'll just trim that bit off.
That for me is the key part of that video, which I think I don't know if people missed it or if they chose to ignore it. Now, I don't know how much of a bearing it actually has, but the point he made was that the card had been overcut. So standard trading card dimension is like 2.5 inch width and 3.5 inch height, I believe. Please don't at me if I got that wrong, because I just did it from memory. I didn't write it down. But whatever, this card was slightly longer than 3.5 inches. So the way that he presented it was, well, we've got some extra here that we can cut off. So I guess in a way, he is potentially misrepresenting that card. However, by not making it smaller than the expected height, it's not going to be detected as trimmed, which I suppose can be a little bit misleading, but it would appear to be working within what most people would consider the acceptable margins of sizing for the card. Now, everyone's going to have a different view on this, right? like I'm saying, please don't at me. This is me just spitballing here, but it was very fascinating.
It was, and the thing is, I mean, it was like a George Miller card. Like, it was like absolute nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still shady. Like I said, it's absolutely shady. Don't get me wrong there, but it was interesting that he'd do that. I mean, this is how you fix your corners. Like, if it's coming apart at the top bit, this is how you do it. So because I would have thought you find your dictionary, you stick it in the middle of the dictionary, you put out 5 or 6 books on top of it. That would do it. No, he had it all down there. So I guess that's the dark side of the hobby. There's always people trying to figure out how to scam the system. I mean, gosh, you can buy fake PSA holders and it's on there. So
no, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's a fine line. I mean, the trimming of cards in general is obviously frowned upon, right? And whether you're working within the acceptable limits of what a standard trading card size or not, right? I'm not trying to justify it, but there's a very fine line between some of the steps that he showed in his TikTok, right? Let's take the trimming out of it to start with. And if you look at somebody who's revered within the hobby, so there's a great page on Facebook called Kurt's Card Care, which is quite difficult to say.
I hope he supposed that was C's.
It's a K to start with, but yeah, it's not the 3 K. Oh, I know a great story about that, which I'll tell you offline, which relates to a coffee franchise in Florida, but never mind. So yeah, Kurt's Card Care.com or Facebook.com/Kurt's Card Care.
You need to rebrand as quickly as possible.
I tell you, I'm panicking. I'm gonna really earn that explicit
Kurt's
tag.
What is it called? Kurt's to take care of it.
Kurt shall take care of it. We might be earning that explicit tag yet when we start talking about the Golden Show, but never mind. So this guy's quite revered in the hobby for some of the restoration type work that he can do on cards to square up corners, to remove creases, and he also goes into a lot of detail about the process. And he sells a range of products that you can buy, and then you can follow his steps to sharpen your own corners and to remove your own creases from cards, and involves things like humidors and special pastes and process and all that kind of stuff. So there's a pretty fine line between what Kurt is promoting, which is like restoration and preparing your card for grading. So in other words, trying to perhaps fix some minor flaws from the pack opening process or from the manufacturing process, so you can ensure you get the best possible grade for your card. The line that's obviously been crossed is the cutting of the card, and then the masking of the cutting to make it look original, which I think is what everyone's taking the most umbrage to in Evan's video.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I've read into, like autographs. The best way to actually like get an autograph to stick in your card is to get baby powder on it and rub
Really?
it on yeah. Apparently, you're supposed to put some baby powder and lightly dust it in there, and that makes it stick to the card better. Which is, so I mean, it's one of these really bizarre things there. So I guess it's how you frame it. He out and out and said, "This is I trim the cards. This is how I do it." Whereas Kurt just goes, "This is how you can do it to get the best possible grade." So if he had gone, I don't know. It's not right, but people do it all the time.
Yeah. You could argue that both of them are operating in slightly grey areas, one of which being significantly greyer than the other because it involves actually cutting the card. But yeah, I think they're two sides of the same coin, I think would be the fairest way of putting it. So yeah, like I said, so after the show tonight, maybe the next sort of half hour or so, I'll stick out a link to that TikTok. Go give it a watch. It's informative, if nothing else, and also quite entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. You should spend the 5 minutes, watch it, and come to your own conclusions on it. I mean, at least he outed himself out and said, "Hey, this is what I do." So
yeah. Oh yeah, he gives no shits. Yeah, go read the comments. Like he's absolutely brilliant in the comments. The thing's pretty funny as well. Like personal highlights from the video where he after he's trimmed the card, he holds up the two, like the curl of paper that's been cut off. And then just like a moment of silence in the blowout forums because again our US based audience I'm sure will be familiar with the forums on blowoutcards.com where he's banned from, presumably something related to his shady actions. So yeah, he's calling the people in the blowhards and the blowout forums. And also at the end of the video, he referred to it as giving the card a haircut, which I found genuinely amusing. And yeah, people kind of picked on that a little bit in the comments as well. Yeah, go watch the TikTok, go read the comments. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
I had no idea he was actually an ex-athlete. I hadn't even gotten that far. So.
Yeah, some people make some fairly outlandish statements about him as well in the old TikTok comments. But I can't remember. So when you first sent it to me, I thought I recognized the name, and I googled it because I thought maybe I'd just seen some of his content before or something. But no, it turns out there you go. He's an ex NFL player. He's been involved. It's not like new to the game either. I mean, the video only came out at the weekend, but he's been in cards and collecting and stuff for many, many years. So yeah, he's not new to the game by any stretch of the imagination.
That's cool. I love that athletes collect cards or collect their own cards. Like I definitely have a soft spot for Evan Longoria now, knowing he collects his own cards.
Well, on the subject of people who collect their own cards, a new television show. It's not television. It's not TV anymore. A new streaming show premiered this weekend. So on Friday, Bowman release day, ironically. April 28th, a new show launched on Netflix called King of Collectibles, The Golden Touch, which is why we have named this week's show The Princes of Podcasts. Well done to Jason for naming that. I didn't actually get the reference until he explained it to me right before the show.
That's not a good sign.
Really clever. It's genius. I'm telling you, it's really good. It was too good for my brain. So this Netflix show has come out. I'm sure your targeted Facebook ads would have let you see the trailer already, but basically, the 6-part series offers a look into the sports memorabilia auction house, I guess they are, consignment company Golden Auctions, and its owner Ken Golden, a man who introduces himself right at the start of the very first episode as motivated by 3 things: competition, ego, and money. And that was almost enough for me. I almost turned it off then. That's just so. Yeah, there you go. That's a cutting insight into the world of Mr. Golden. Yeah, that put me off straight away. I did end up watching all 6 episodes just this afternoon though, because the kids were off school and they were running about with iPads and taking care of themselves. So I did manage to get through them all. I guess it's. I know you put some time into today as well. I mean, it's moderately interesting, I guess. I think you described it to me in a text message as a bit of a knockoff of Pawn Stars. Is that right?
No, that was Eric Norton, formerly of Beckett.
I can't remember
what Eric's doing now, but I think he's with Panini. I think he's going that way. Anyways, he had pointed that there. So I made it through 4 episodes. It wasn't the best. I was going to like. It was I don't know. It was like a knockoff version of Pawn Stars. Like, it was like I really kind of hope the memorabilia was cool. It seemed really odd. You would open up with Beanie Babies. Like, I get it. There's a wide audience there, and they were probably trying to appeal to as many people as possible. I mean, it's the 9th rated show in the UK at the moment, according to Netflix.
It's got a 97% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
I think like 4 people have reviewed it. To be fair,
yeah. I like those shows. I enjoy Pawn Stars, and I tried to watch the one that was in Detroit. Like, that was pretty bad.
Oh my god, yeah, that one that was basically on 8 Mile.
Yes, yeah, that place.
Hardcore Pawn.
Hardcore Pawn. Yes, I like those shows. I think they're entertaining. That is like my go-to for like trash TV. Like, I love that stuff there because
we're getting a real glimpse behind your curtain tonight, aren't we?
I get to watch TV like once a week. There's New Life. That's the first thing I've watched in months because baseball season. I'm on track to watch every inning of the Mariners baseball season going on there, and I made time for it today. But the one thing it's missing is they have zero personality. Like, there is not anyone on this show I go, oh man, that guy's cool. It's like, no, you guys are bland. The customers are even blander.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people who reside in their mother's basements that come out for the show, right? And I don't wish to stereotype the kind of people who collect sports memorabilia or memorabilia of this kind of type, but yeah, there's there's some people there, that's for sure. And you're exactly right about the characters. The only one that seemed to have a little bit of life about her was the lass that they use for doing their promotional videos and stuff like that. Her name's escaped me. That's terrible. I should have written it down. She comes across quite well, but then she's like an ex-news anchor, right? So she's got that personality for television.
Yep. Yeah, she is a former sports journalist. I caught that. Like, again, the show was on the background. Like, it was one of those shows you put on. I was not watching it. I was listening to it, and I kind of go, "Oh, here's a Game worn Michael Jordan jersey from his first home away jersey," and it's photo match. And it was like, you have Michael Jordan's first road jersey ever, and all you can say, "Oh, it's photo match is good." Like, I would have spent time describing it, talking to the guy about it. I guess that's why I like Pawn Stars, is because they talk about what they're showing, and it's more about the memorabilia, and there's a story behind it. Like, I mean, I would have said, how the hell did you get Michael Jordan's first jersey? Like, where did you come across it? Obviously, the guy was super wealthy. His collection was ridiculous about what he had there. I mean, he had the first Boston Celtics jersey. He had Dr. J's All-Star jersey. It was, it was amazing, but there was nothing about it. Where did you get into it? How did you get into collecting? There could have been so much more interesting things they could have gone into about that, but it was more of like, so yeah, I want you to sell me your collection, and when they negotiate what the price is, I'm gonna pay you now, and then consign the rest of stuff off.
Yeah.
Don't care.
I completely agree. Yeah, we didn't. I mean, it was interesting to find out that he reckoned the whole collection was worth between $25 and $40 million. Like, the cringe negotiation about the $12.5 million, I should say, spoiler alert.
You're not missing much.
Too late. I've already ruined it. The cringe negotiation about the $12.5 million advance. Like, you could take that along with some other parts of the show. Like, he's sitting talking to his delightful daughter about the fact he's built a $4 billion business. And then there was like too many cheesy shots of him being driven around in weren't even nice cars. It was like late 2000s model, like Suburbans and stuff like that. And then there's like too much footage of him getting on private jets, and you're like, you're not actually flying anywhere in those jets. That jet's parked on a runway, and they've just filmed you getting in it and sitting in it, and then getting out of it, and then getting in a car, and then they're cutting it together to make it look like he's flying around the place on a private jet. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that part of it. And yeah, I think there was a bit. I mean, I get it. It's about him. Okay, so it's a bit of an ego stroke. But yeah, they could have spent a lot more time focusing on some of the pieces themselves, and like you say, the history, the story behind them, especially some of those basketball things, which, as they quite rightly said, is the best collection that's not in the Hall of Fame. and you know, that stuff should be in museums, probably not passing through this guy's sweaty paws to try and get some money for it.
Yeah, I think you saw that with the LeBron James Logo Man card, where they immediately found it. He was already on the phone with Backyard Breakers to sell it to find out who the guy had it, and they missed the trick. Like, it was 3 guys who bought into the break, hit the card, had the card, and I would have loved to hear their reasoning to go, do we take it, do not? Because it was like, all right, yes, I'm gonna give you $1 million, and they're like, okay, we're gonna step out and talk about it. Go, we're taking $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
$1 million card. You would have had it gone, you know, we would have liked this much. We were hoping up for this much. I would have loved to hear those 3 guys chat about that.
Yeah.
And just said, we're taking the money. It was like that, so anticlimactic to go, yeah, we know you're taking the money. Like, it's $1 million card.
Yeah. But then even again, that was just like the retainer, basically, so that they would put the card through Golden. They got that $1 million up front, and then anything on top of that they also get at the end of the sale. And that card ended up going for what, 1.7 or something by the time you added on the commission and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, they could have focused on that kind of stuff a little bit more. It wasn't all terrible. Like, a couple of interesting things I think came out of it was they dealt with they brokered the sale for the Lewis Hamilton rookie card, which I guess you could put in inverted commas, because, you know, his F1 cards are a fairly new invention, and he'd already been in F1 for many years before his actual rookie card came out. But anyway, the Lewis Hamilton rookie card for, I think, 2020, again, 101 Superfractor autograph, and they brokered a private sale for that, which I found quite interesting. I think they could have focused on that a little bit more, because they spoke a little bit about the fact they don't like reserves on their items. Specifically with the Jackie Robinson jersey that the seller was wanting 10 million for, and it didn't get to 10 million. And I found it interesting that they brokered a private sale, because they talked about the importance of everything going through auction, and about how they have the widest reach, and these items are so special that potentially they only ever come up for sale once, so you want to get the widest possible audience for them. And then, you know, a couple of episodes later, they sit down and they brokered a private one-on-one deal for the Lewis Hamilton Superfractor card, which they didn't give away the money it went for, but I think, well, we know the initial offer was for $750,000, which the owners turned down. And then the guy came back and just wrote a number on a bit of paper and gave it to the 16-year-old kid who pulled the card out of one pack. Kid bought one pack for $50 and pulled that card out of it. And I'm pretty sure the dude wrote down a number that was more than $1 million. And you can see the little kid's eyes nearly popped out of his head, which was kind of funny. So that was interesting to see. And also the sale of the Lionel Messi Barcelona jersey from El Clasico in 2017. And if you don't know the importance of that jersey, they do explain it in the show, which was quite good. And the fact it went for $45K. So they're sort of helping to showcase the fact that it's not just the 4 traditional, or I guess 3 traditional big sports, where the business is. There's these developing and emerging markets. So in F1, which, you know, I've spoken about a few times about how rapidly it's growing in the States, and the fact that, you know, this $45,000 for that Messi jersey was the most expensive soccer jersey ever sold at auction, and stuff like that. And the fact that the soccer market in the US is starting to boom as well. So it was really interesting to see those 2 items.
I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I thought the jersey went for a lot less than what it is. For me, that's just because I've been in UK, Europe longer, and thought, wow, that's a pretty low for considering what's behind it now. Whereas, you know, there are guys of that. But, well, I guess what I didn't like about that, it really felt like they were forcing him to sell a jersey. That was from the guy's personal collection, and it took him like 2 years to find it and get it and buy it. And they're like, yeah, well, you when in 10 years' time, when you want that jersey, you'll have enough money to buy it, because when we broker this relationship for him. And I was like, that just felt sleazy. It's just like,
it did. But then that whole sort of injected line of drama about, this is a piece that's special to me, I don't know if I want to sell it. It pops up in every episode. You know, it's definitely part of the formula. Like the whole Beanie Babies thing is interesting in and of itself, but the way they pitched that, it was like a gateway into getting the guys really super nice, like, you know, his
autograph collection was
his signed baseball collection was mad. Like, every player who's hit more than 500 home runs or something, he had a display of all their baseballs, like including Babe Ruth's and all that kind of stuff. It was just insane. So yeah, the Beanie Babies were like the gateway drug to try and build a relationship with him. The Messi jersey was pitched as something similar. Like the only reason the guy wanted to sell it was to show to Lionel Messi himself how valuable his collectibles were, because this guy was trying to build or try to get an exclusive deal with Leo Messi to get access to game worn stuff direct from him and things like that. So I can kind of see it, but yeah, the whole it's very personal to me, I don't know if I want to sell it yet, that shtick like kind of got worn out a little bit early doors. Yeah, I mean, like I say, there was some interesting stuff, and I segued into this section by saying, speaking of athletes who like to collect their own cards, and specifically referring to Peyton Manning, who's one of the various names that gets dropped all the way through the show, which is the other thread of the show is, I guess, Ken Golden stroking his ego about all his celebrity customers and celebrity friends that he has, and he's flying all around the States and up to Canada to go and see Champagne Pappy burst a whole load of money on Panini trying to find that Logo Man card, and then he's in one of the cringiest sections with Logan Paul opening Pokemon cards, and it was rough. that was a difficult watch.
I didn't see that. That must have been episode 5 or 6. And I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it's cringe to the point that you're sort of got your hands over your eyes and you're watching it through cracks and you're like the gaps between your fingers. Like it's that level of cringe. I actually remember at the time, because they went on like Instagram Live and opened a first edition Pokemon box from Logan Paul's personal collection, and they had sold all 36 packs ahead of time for about, I think the average was about 10 grand a pack. And people had bought the packs ahead of time, and then they broke them live on Instagram, and it was like the worst box. It was like it had nothing. And to be fair to them, like Logan Paul came off the live, and they're obviously being filmed by the film for the show. And Logan Paul was like mortified at how terribly it had gone. So he gained actually a little bit of respect from me personally. Or I'm pretty sure I've referred to him as an internet windbag a number of times in this show.
Oh, he still is, I'm sure.
Oh, he still is, yeah. But again, it's a slight bit of respect, because you could see he kind of had the feels about how badly it went, considering they had just forked over 300, or various people had forked over like 36 grand a pack, and they were getting like fire energies and stuff. It wasn't the Charizards and the Bulbasaurs and the Pikachus they were expecting, So, yeah. So Peyton Manning is another friend of Ken Golden, and he appears in the show, and he is evidently quite a big collector of his own material, and he takes great pride in the fact that his memorabilia sells for far more than his brother's memorabilia does. And there's actually quite a funny, although very staged, FaceTime call with Ken Golden in the back of a car, where Peyton Manning phones him to ask for his advice on the value of a jersey, and asks him to compare Peyton's Super Bowl winning jersey from the Denver Broncos to one of Eli's in New York. And Ken Golden, through kind of gritty teeth, is like, yeah, Eli's is more expensive because it was like the first one in New York, and that's a far bigger deal, and blah blah blah. It was very staged, but it was actually still kind of quite funny. So Peyton Manning pops up a couple of times in the show. He's an investor in Golden, the auction house, Golden the business, as is Logan Paul. So that explains why they both appeared on the show. And as it turns out, Peyton Manning is actually an executive producer of the show as well. And the whole show is produced by Peyton Manning's production company, Omaha Productions. So that's why it's basically the Ken Golden Show featuring Peyton Manning.
That explains a lot there. There you go. So
there you go. So Peyton Manning making quite a big play in the collectible space, because he's also one of the main people behind the Mint Collective, who had their show in Vegas like maybe 3 episodes ago, which we spoke about, which was this twist on the traditional card show, and they were trying to treat it a bit more like a TED event and have featured speakers and discussing the future of the hobby and all that kind of stuff. But he's evidently a big player in the Mint collection as well. So he's definitely turning himself into quite a player in the collectibles world.
Well, I never saw that coming. Like I have a love-hate relationship with Peyton Manning. Like, I think he's hilarious when he plays just himself because he knows he's a dork and he's got a giant forehead. And when he plays off that, I love that. But
Yeah.
I just, that's how I see him. But yeah, it's Peyton Manning. I just don't like the guy. So he's not like every vanilla advert on TV there is. I need someone to promote Wheaties. Peyton Manning, perfect. I need someone that doesn't upset anybody.
But then he played off that beautifully as well for that SNL sketch that he did, where he was like knocking the kids out. Like he was supposed to be doing like a training camp thing with, I guess, like elementary school age kids, and was like pegging them in the head with like Nerf balls and stuff. I mean, it's funny. That's really funny.
It is funny. Yeah.
Yeah. He's quite self-deprecating, but yeah, like the sections in the show are a little bit cringe, but if you understand the reasons, I guess, behind it.
I think they just missed a trick. I think who knows if it was going to be episode 2, but I would have loved more to hear about what they were selling and not exactly who your contacts are. But I mean, I understand why they do it, but let's hope they get canceled and there's not a season 2.
Well, I mean, if it's like the number 7 rated show in the UK right now, and it's seems to be being quite well received critically as well, then I imagine we might see a second. I guess it depends if anything massive happens in the card collecting space over the next little while. I mean, this was beautifully timed with the LeBron logo man being such a big story, and especially it's kind of ironic it was pulled by those fuckwits at Backyard Breaks as well, which kind of adds a nice undertone to the story, although they don't touch on that at all.
Nope.
Other than showing like a 10-second clip of when they actually pulled the card. And then this, like as you said, the story develops into the 3 guys who bought that space in the break. But so yeah, it's interesting. The hobby's only getting bigger. It wouldn't surprise me if it gets commissioned for a second series. But
I'm sure it will. I think the one interesting thing they did is I went into it thinking it would be sports memorabilia, and it wasn't. It was anything. They had the guy that had the original Mac that was signed by Steve Jobs.
That dude's collection of Apple computers was unbelievable. The Britney Spears used to be a dress and then got turned into a top. That was kind of interesting as well. At least I did. I thought it was kind of interesting.
So it just shows you anything can be collectible. I mean, my stepmother collects Red Cross pins, and she was proud to tell me how much it was worth. I was going to inherit it one day, and I was wow. But I can't say much. It's just not accepted as say sports cards is. So the Beanie Baby one was especially good. I don't know if they did that because I don't know if they did that ironically to include the Beanie Babies or what. But yeah, that was kind of funny. But yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, to focus on some of the other collectibles markets and not just keep it about sports. I guess that was key to get to them probably try to get a wider audience as well. If I'm going to put my cynical hat back on, but yeah, it was interesting. I found that interesting as well. We'll just have to make our own UK version of it and talk about whatever we can find about it.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
Tea and Top's eBay flips. All right, here we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that'd be a different show. Yeah.
All right, we go and harass little kids for their Elon Harley cards. Put it on eBay. We give you the best pricing.
Exactly. Yeah. That'll be some interesting content for the Hot Beef Beverage podcast. All right, cool. Well, normally we would end the show on Project 100, but as we've already discussed, it has gone. So instead, a little bit of Tops Now and the feel-good story of the week. Hopefully everybody caught this. I like stories like this. I think they're cool. We said we were bookending with the Pittsburgh Pirates after speaking about Brian Reynolds earlier. So this weekend, the Pittsburgh Pirates called up minor leaguer Drew Maggi, and he made his MLB debut over the weekend after 13 years and 1,154 games in the minor leagues. He finally got up this weekend. He got his cup of coffee. He got a hit and an RBI, at least over the weekend, I believe. And Topps made a Topps Now card for him. So Topps Now rookie card to commemorate the fact that after this servitude to the minor leagues, he finally got his cup of coffee over the weekend. I like stories like that. I think that's pretty cool.
Did you buy the Topps Now card?
No, that was too slow.
There was autos as well. They had autos for him.
Yeah, I might, if I remember, I might circle back to it and try and find one on eBay.
So unfortunately, there's not the good news you want. He's been sent back to the minors.
He got sent down again. I think that was always going to be the case. It was just for a weekend or something. Was it to cover a paternity or a bereavement or something? I think I have that in my head, but I knew it wasn't like a long-term thing. But yeah, a cool story nonetheless.
So his career, he is the Crash Davis of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So he had 6 at bats, had 2 hits, a run, and an RBI. So good on him. Like I said, that is 6 more at bats than I'll ever have in the major leagues. So
exactly, yeah, and me too. Yeah, but just to plug it out for that long in the minors, and let's face it, they don't make a lot of money in the minors, and the conditions can suck quite a lot of the time. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, like, as a pitcher, especially if you're a lefty, you can always hang about. There's always a spot for some kind of left-handed reliever there. But to do it as a position player and grind that out day in, day out, like, he's going to end up being a coach somewhere. I mean, you don't grind it out for that many years without becoming a coach somewhere.
That's a very good point. So, yeah, I thought, a nice story, a nice baseball card-related story. And if you picked up one of his cards already, quite right. I'll try, like I say, I'm going to try and get one from eBay.
Yeah, I need to go look at his minor league career to see where he's bounced around, because you don't sign 29-year-old journeyman.
No, that's true. Yeah,
your filler for that there. So yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
Yes, indeed.
And speaking of minor leagues, our friend Gabriel Rincones is having quite a weekend.
Is he? Oh, good.
He had 2 home runs this weekend, and he is up to 13 stolen bases. So he's not like he only had 30 rated speed, which isn't great, but he might have a 2020 season in him.
Wow, that'd be pretty awesome. I'll need to keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on his stats through the year. We do still have some minor league products, of course. Heritage Minor League, Pro Debut. These are the minor league releases that Topps does. So. We'll see if maybe Gabriel gets himself some cards in these releases, and we'll have Bowman Draft later in the year. But he's already been in Bowman Draft, so I don't think he'll appear again unless he gets a second-year card. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to keep tabs on him.
Yep, he's doing well. 5-game history, so that's not bad. He's pulled his average up, and he's batting cleanup for the Clearwire Threshers. We need to send our friend from Orlando to go up and go see him at some point in time.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. Certainly shall.
Because yes, Matt's from the wrong side of Florida. That's a heck of a trip.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very good. All right, excellent. That feels like a cracking way to end the show. We've managed to fill our hour once again. So yeah, if you've been watching along with us live, thank you very much. This episode will be available as a podcast from next Monday. That's Monday the 8th of May. And Jason and I will be back live the following week, barring any disasters. That's Monday, the 15th of May. I'm going to use my usual sign-off with a slight tinge of sadness this week. So normally I sign off the show with a slight variation on the classic Jerry Springer show sign-off of take care of yourselves and each other, which I sort of mildly adapted, and of course we very sadly lost. Jerry Springer just this past week. So yeah, I guess with that in mind, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We'll speak to you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys. See you later.